Hey there everybody, this is John Olith. This is my first time casting for StarCraft 2, so I'm going to give this a shot and try and get in at the casting commentary community, see what goes on. I got a game here between DarkForce and Grubby. Grubby spawned at the top position here, and DarkForce is down in the bottom here. This is part of the Daily Motion Cup playoff. I highly suggest watching this series. It's a really good series, really good games by these two players. So what we've got here, we've got DarkForce going on. He's just going to drone on up, and we've got good old-fashioned Grubby here. You might know Grubby from Warcraft 3 if you follow that scene at all. Grubby was very dominant in the Warcraft 3 community. Placed top 10 tons of times. Just really, really excellent at playing the Orc race, and really powerful player. And you can see he's putting his forward pylon down here. We got looks like DarkForce moving up to this position, trying to scout it out. And Grubby's moving his probe down here, checking out the scene, seeing what's what. This stage in the game is always fairly slow-paced, I guess, in terms of viewing. You're kind of curious as to who's going to do what. The real question here for DarkForce is he going to go for a spawning pool first, or is he going to go for a hatch first? Really the only two options available to Zerg in the early game. We see Grubby, he's chrono boosting out a lot of probes. He wants his economy strong. He's not going to be saving it up for any kind of funny business. At this stage of the game, the only thing DarkForce needs to be really worried about from Grubby is a potential 4-gate. Grubby getting his pretty standard gateway here. He's going to be doing a wall off, probably get a Cyber Core right there, put a Zealot right there to see what's what. Yeah, and here we go with the spawning pool first play. He's getting the extractor down here so he can get the gas he needs to immediately get Zergling speed, give him good control of the map. So here we got this drone kind of coming on up. He's going to check out things, see what's going on. Again, he's sending this drone up here specifically to see if any kind of crazy 4-gate's coming on up, or any kind of thing like that. If this assimilator is the only gas that he gets, he's got to be starting to get a little bit worried. But if he sees 2 gas, then he's pretty happy. He's pretty confident that there's going to be some kind of tech play coming on out, whether that's Void Rays or even Dark Templar or Colossus. A fast Colossus is yet to be seen, but right now DarkForce needs to be wary about that, the possibility of that 4-gate. Meanwhile, down here we see you got Grubby. He's being very concerned about a fast expansion. He wants to hold that off for as long as possible. Doesn't look like DarkForce is making any move here. He's got his Zerglings out on the field, got 4 of them. Gonna chase this probe away at the very least, so that he can move into getting his expansion up quickly. That's the real benefit of Zerg in pretty much any matchup. They're pretty safe getting an expansion pretty early on in comparison. The Protoss, if he wants to gear up for an expansion, he really has to kind of slow crawl down in here, really get something going on so he can play something up there. So here we go. Yeah, DarkForce is going to see that assimilator, and he's going to know that there's no 4-gate coming, unless Grubby has some kind of weird timing with that kind of thing. But he's pretty confident that, yeah, that drone's going to get sacrificed, but he's pretty confident that no 4-gate's coming, so he can move on to standard sort of safe play. So now, looks like DarkForce is vomiting away with his queen. Come on, vomit, vomit, do it, do it, do it. No, wow. Come on, DarkForce. You can do it. I believe in you. Vomits on away. Perfect. So the game's moving forward in a forwardly manner. Spreading his Zerglings out all across the map. Wants to be wary of any kind of pylon placement. This Zergling here, you can see, he's wandering along. He's got a huge path that he's going on. This is for pylons. He's checking them out. Doesn't want to be surprised by any kind of weird positioning or anything like this. But it looks like we can see that Grubby's not going for any kind of weird pylon play. He is sending his Stalker forward. I think this is mainly just to kind of poke at the Zerg, make the Zerg make a few more units than the Zerg is comfortable doing. And, you know, to make the Zerg aware, like, hey, you know, I've got units back here. I can hit you in the face with them, which is where you want to be hitting people in the face if you're hitting them. So he's going to send those on back, and that's fine. 2 Zerglings kind of coming on up here, sending 1 up to kind of scout out the scene, see what's going on. Yeah, just gearing up, taking his positions. We got a Roach Warren going on down. That's a good one. If he suspects heavy gateway play, which if you're playing against Protoss, you should be expecting heavy gateway play. Looks like he's got, oh, he's doing a bunch of sentries. This is huge, huge, yeah, this is a huge defensive play. He's getting that expansion up and going. You can see what I was talking about. He's got the pylons going, and it's the slow crawl here. He's going to put a couple of buildings right here, I bet. Really wants to constrict. DarkForce, trying to be annoying, trying to send up as much Zerglings as he can, really wants to get in Grubby's face, and he wants to do as much damage as he possibly can. Keep him off this base as long as he possibly can. Grubby being smart, staying back, huddling back, using his buildings to protect him. He wants to keep this constricted. He can put a couple of force fields down there, really slice any Zerg army in half. If Zerg breaks through, he can just put one force field there, keeps him off, and he can do a good play like that. Looks like DarkForce checks it on out. Now DarkForce here, he's just being very calm, taking his third here, well, trying to take his third, knocking down the rocks there. Thanks, Blizzard. Getting nothing much going on with this Roach Warren yet. Nothing much going with his Evo Chamber. He put this Evo Chamber here. He's not using the upgrades or anything like this. I mean, this is just to make sure that Void Rays don't kind of surprise him. He wants to be able to quickly put down any kind of defense against it. We're getting a robotics facility here. Again, this is just a good idea. He wants an observer in the air, wants to ensure that there's no kind of Roach Burrow play. Roach Burrow play can really come into play when a Protoss takes a second like this. Not so much at this point, but in the early kind of phases. So he wants to just be aware and be able to see things that are stealthed. Right now we've got a little push out going on here. This is actually kind of a dangerous move, I think, by Grubby to do. These are fairly fragile units, the Sentry, and so for them to just be hanging out in the middle here, he's relying very heavily on force fields. He's relying very heavily on kind of his ability to, you know, maneuver himself. I mean, if this army had been in the right position at the right time, it could have just had devastating effects on that Sentry army. You see DarkForce putting down a Spire here while he's knocking down the rocks here. He wants to take a third base here. Well, fourth, I guess, at this point, because it looks like he's taking his third at his gold. So he's going to have a pretty decent Roach army here. He's got Burrow researched, so that's going to allow him to do a little bit of Burrow micro and any kind of... and heal very quickly any damage that might be dealt to him. He's scouting out with these Zerglings. Still doesn't see the rocks there. Doesn't see anything going on here. Doesn't see anything going on there. He probably suspects that there's a base up here. But, so he's moving, yeah, and so he's moving very quickly towards the rocks at the top left here. I think he's going to want to knock those bad boys down, really kind of push at Grubby. And any place he can, really try and get a little touch and go on that. So now Grubby's got a push out here. A lot of Stalkers here. A Stalker Sentry mix is really quite potent. It looks like, yeah, it looks like DarkForce is going to be moving on back to try and catch that before it gets to his base. Sentry's out in front. This looks like a good force fields, keeping as many Roaches as he can out of the battle. Wants to ensure that the Roaches are not even part of it, so he can just overwhelm half of his army and then come on back. And it looks like that's exactly what Grubby has done. Although he's moving away here. So, yeah, with the reinforcing Zerglings, he's decided to move back. This is going to be a tricky bit of business. Doesn't have Blink, doesn't have anything like that, so if Zerglings get a surround, it's going to be a big trouble. A lot of sentries falling. A lot of sentries going down in that fight. It looks like DarkForce is happy to retreat back to the middle and take over map control, really. If you can control the middle of this map, like if you control this whole section right here, you control your entire side. You can attack out into any location you choose. You can really be aggressive if you control that middle, and allows you to take as many of your own expansions as you like. Looks like Grubby's going for another push here. Wants to keep his opponent on his toes. Doesn't want DarkForce to be able to utilize the Zergling mobility, the mobility that the Zerg has at its fingertips. Oh, this is such a tenuous position for the both of them. Lots of Zerglings getting in behind. Lots of we got Mutalisks coming into play here. But look, these force fields are saving the day right here. These force fields really kept the Roaches out of the fight. They'd have to go all the way around. So he was able to just deal with the Zerglings and the Mutalisks, as opposed to dealing with any of these Roaches whatsoever.